Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening for some that might watch this later. Lovers and haters, friends and family and friends. It's Richard Murray. I'm back again. Just want to share some thoughts with you on my heart. I haven't been on YouTube, haven't been on Facebook, haven't put a video out, haven't done anything with Podbean for a while. And so I pray that you would have a little bit of mercy on me. Just really seeking God in some areas of my life, trying to change some things. And I would like to broaden the horizon. I'd like to just not be stuck into the audience of a local church or just a church mentality, but I'd like to get out there a little bit. I'd like to reach out there. And so I'm working on some things, but I enjoy when God speaks to my heart. I enjoy when I have epiphanies and moments of changes. And I was thinking about how just today, how I invest my time, I invest my money. I always hear that you can tell a lot by a person by what they, you can look at their checkbook. You can look at their checkbook and see what they're spending their money on, or you can look and see what they're spending their time on, what they're watching, what they're reading. I have a list of library books over there on a shelf, and I can just look at it and kind of see the subjects that I've kind of governed myself towards. And it speaks a lot about your wealth of knowledge. It speaks a lot about where you're at in life. And so I had a few phone calls today, and I was talking to a friend of mine today that is in a big move, and she knows who she is. So when she watches this video, she gets to laugh, comment, or whatever. But this is her last day in one area of life, and she's moving on to another area. And we're so prone to want to say things like goodbye, and we deal with this emotional roller coaster up and down. But the word that kind of came to me, and I shared it with her, was it's not goodbye, it's more good luck. And you might not want to use the word luck, but it's like, hey, I'm graduating from this area of my life and I'm moving into this area. And I always think of one of my favorite stories is Peter. Peter would have never known that he could walk on water until he got out the boat. And there's a majority of us, we're stuck in life. We're stuck in life right now because it's our boat. It's where we've been. It's the place that we're comfortable in. And we know the cracks and the crevices, and we know the people that's in our boat. We know the close association of those that we connect with. And we don't realize that, we were never called to just stay in the boat. And most of us have. And, the insanity of the boat, some of us will even go down with it. I think of the movie Titanic. I love that movie. My wife watches it and she likes it, and I'll watch it with her. But I think of the insanity of some of the folks that said, you know what, we're just going to go down with the boat. There was lifeboats everywhere. There was furniture. There was some things. And some people in life, I want to encourage you today, that this is speaking to you. You might be in the boat, but you're deciding to go down with it. You're afraid. Fear has captivated you. It has really just enslaved you to get out the boat, to realize that you have the ability, you have the purpose that God has put in you. You have, you can call it God, you can call it the universe, you call it whatever you want, because I want to speak to those that might not even know God, might not even have a relationship with Christ. But you call it whatever you want. I have my personal belief. I have my convictions, and I stand on that. And it's part of my moral foundation and who I am, and how I was saved with Christ. But maybe you're not there yet, so you might call it the universe, or you might call it this or that. But I want to tell you this: that all of us, we have to have, and it's been given to us from creation, a measure of faith, and we gotta have faith. Because faith is that vessel, it's that substance, it's that vehicle, it's that unseen bridge, just like in the movie of Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail, that unseen bridge that we all have to take our step onto. From the boat to a new reality, a new place, a new perspective. And each one of us has been deposited in us gifts and talents from our Creator. It's been given to us from the very beginning that we were called. We have all been called, anointed, appointed for this generation, this season. There is a reason why you weren't born 100 years ago. There's a reason why you're not born 50 years from now, but you were called for this season, this generation, this hour. You were called. You were anointed. You were appointed. You have been deposited. And so I want to encourage you today. I just want to look at some things. One of the stories that I like is a creation story. In Genesis, it talks about, and it says that in Genesis chapter 1, verses 27, 28, it says, so God created man in his own image. And in the image he created him, male and female. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, have dominion over the earth, and every living creature. But I want you to just look at some things today with me, because like I said, I had an epiphany earlier. I'm going to get to that in a few moments about changing my mentality, renewing my mind, transforming. And I want to encourage you that there were some things that he said. The scriptures teach us. I think the Bible is one of the greatest wealth of knowledge and understanding in scriptures for us to change our lives, for us to be transformed, for us to be renewed. It says that, for us to find purpose and passion in life. Because most of us, if you're anything like me, you're going to a dead-end job day in and day out, day in, day out. You're living paycheck to paycheck. You're living hand to mouth. You're living with a beggar's mentality. And there's a few of you out there. You're able to vacation. You're able to have some things that you're building and some stuff in your life. But the thing about that is you're still unsatisfied because you continue to build, or you continue to do, or you continue to buy. I know I'm struggling with that in my life. I've realized that no matter how many times I change my car into a truck to a car, or this or that, or no matter how many toys or gifts I go buy, I still feel unsatisfied. Why? Because I haven't fully stepped into my purpose or my passion in life, and my purpose or the vision is connected with my passion. But it says here there was 4 things that humanity and mankind were placed upon. He said to be fruitful, to multiply, to replenish and subdue. And I want to talk to you just about those 4 things real fast. I want to talk to you about being fruitful. We are all called to be fruitful. And if you look at that term for a minute, to bear fruit, to be fruitful, there's someone has to plant the seed. If you look outside, I don't know where you're at, but I'm in Florida and they have orange groves, but somebody had to plant those trees. Somebody had to plant the seeds for the trees to grow to produce the fruit. Just like, it doesn't matter if you're in the Midwest, the Northeast, the South, wherever. Someone has to start the garden. Someone has to plant the seed. It takes someone to plant the seed. Somebody has to prepare the ground. Somebody has to cultivate it, or water it, or irrigate it, or pick out the trash, the grass, the overgrown roots, or whatever. Somebody has to do that. Now we know and we understand from Scripture that God, you call Him Creator, you call it whatever, but God, I'm a firm believer in the Creator. That is where the increase comes from. That's where the increase comes from. That you plant the seed, but you don't have the power to call the seed up. You could water it every day. You could cultivate it every day. But that's nature. That's natural law. That's something that if you plant it, it will come forth. It will produce a harvest. And we learn that from our words, that if you use negative words or you use positive words, they plant the seed into something to produce the harvest. There's an increase that will come from that. So we are called to be fruitful. We are called to plant the seeds. And I want to ask you today, are you being fruitful? What are you bearing in your life? What are you cultivating? What are you doing with your life? Is it, are you fruitful in positivity or negativity? What are you fruitful in? We are called to be fruitful. But some of us as individuals are not careful. We could always make it about us and our fruit. Some of the things that I'm learning this week is there's some people that, it's great. And in the last few years, I've realized that I've had some relationships in my life. I've met some people along the way. But I've realized that those relationships are very selfish, because I've found that some people, they want a friendship with you. They want a relationship with you. They want to kick it. But it's always one-sided. It's always about them. It's always about what they're doing. I don't remember the last time someone's taken the time, only a few that I've learned over the years that have taken the time and said, hey man, what are you doing? What's going on with you? Let me reach out to you. Let me not wait for you to reach out to me. And and I found that those relationships, they're very selfish. They're very one-sided. They're kind of based upon that old song, what have you done for me lately? And so I'm learning that in life. I'm learning things like this week has been a week of body language. Sometimes the first looks that people give you can kind of speak the truth of their hearts, and I found that some people have given me some very gracious first looks along the way. But what are you fruitful in? What are you bearing fruit in? So it says that we're supposed to be fruitful. Let me say this: we are all called to multiply. We are called to enhance our lives. We are called to enhance our territories. There's a book out called The Prayer of Jabez, and that little verse there in 1 Chronicles 4, 9 and 10, where this man Jabez, he prays a prayer, and basically he says, enhance my coast, enlarge my territory, keep me from evil so that I'm doing what's right from you. And it says God heard his prayer. I want to encourage you today. It's time for you to multiply. Now, and going back to my friend earlier, I was talking about she's moving from one territory here to another. Why? Because she's decided it's time to multiply. It's time for her to get out of that boat that she's always been into. And I had to in my own personal life. There was 2 years ago almost. It was almost 2 years ago. We had to make a decision. We heard the word, and we had to multiply. We had to move. And so we packed up everything. We sold off a lot of stuff, and we came to Florida. And in the 2 years of being here, we wrestled, we struggled during this season of cultivation. We know that our ship has come in. We know that the seeds are planted. We know the roots are taking place. And now we know we're going to enter into a season of multiplication. We are called to multiply. Are you multiplying? Are you looking to get increase? Are you looking to enhance? And I'm not just talking about with trinkets and toys. I'm not talking about with the goods of this world. But are you growing? Are you enhancing? Or are you in the same place you were with knowledge and wisdom and understanding and just emotions in life? Are you in the same place you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year? If you're not growing, beloved, you have a wasted life. So then, we also find out that we're called to replenish. And the word replenish means to be filled up again, to be stocked up, to be stored up. We're supposed to replenish. And I want to ask you a question. Are you being filled up? And if you are being filled up, who's filling you up? Who's encouraging you? Who's blessing you? Who's speaking life into you? I want you to think about that for a minute. Are you reading books? Are you listening to tapes? What are you replenishing yourself with? What are you cultivating your life for? Say you got a passion in cooking. Are you reading books to create that passion? Are you reading books? Are you listening to tapes? Are you watching shows? Are you doing things that bring forth your passion that pushes you into the purpose? Because if you're a cook and you love to cook and you're a great cook, my wife's a great cook, but you always find yourself doing everything that's against that, well then that's why you'll feel unsatisfied. That's why you feel unfulfilled. What are you replenishing your life on? And then I want you to think about it. Those people or those situations, are you honoring them? I mean, think about the person that's speaking to your life. Think about that person that maybe gives up some sleep, or maybe that person that had to take some time to read a book or something that is speaking into you because either A, you're just lazy and you don't want to do the work yourself, or B, that's their gift, that's their talent. They're a motivator, they're a speaker. That's me. Part of me is I'm called to motivate. I'm called to speak. I'm called to give people wisdom and things like that. And some of us, we need motivators. I listen to motivators. I listen to ministers. I listen to speakers. I listen to why? Because I need it too. It helps my gift enhance. It helps my gift and calling to move forward. So I want to encourage you. How are you honoring them? Are you blessing them? Are you praying for them? Are you doing good things for them? Are you doing things? Are you speaking things into their life? To the motivators. Because realize, for you to get what you get, somebody's got to give up something to get you what you got. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but whatever you got, wherever you're going, wherever you're at in life, somebody most likely has spoken into your life. Someone has planted a seed. And, you know, one of the things, let me say this, because this is a crazy thought, and I'm probably going to get some crazy responses, but I'm at a place in my life I really just don't care, because I feel right with God. I feel right in the universe. I just feel at peace right now. And, you know, I'm not new agey and all that, and, you know, I'm just learning that I want to talk to more people than the so-called Christians or the so-called church or the churchy people or the holier-than-thou people. Why? Because there's so many people that I see that go to church on Sundays, or they go this or that, and they're just as lost. They're just as struggling. They're just a mess. You know, Bishop T.D. Jakes said it the best, that most of us, our lives are trash, but God can find treasure with the trash. And I don't know about you, maybe you're trashed up right now, but let me tell you something. Beloved, there's treasure in it. There's treasure in the trash. Your life is not an accident. You're not a mistake. Each one of us that come into this planet, each one of us that come into humanity, that has been given the gift of life into creation, each one of us has gift, talents, and purposes. And if you weren't here, creation itself would be heartbroken. Why? Because you have a place. You have a function. You have a purpose into this. And in my goal, my heart is to help get that out of you, so that you become satisfied, successful, that you become that which you were called from eons past. You're anointed, you're appointed, you're called for a time as this. You know, Proverbs 3:9 says, honor the Lord with all your substance, the first fruits. Honor Him. I want to ask you a question. Mr. Stingy, Mr. Me, mine. Let me ask you a question. Are you honoring somebody? Maybe you don't believe in God, and that's great, whatever. But are you honoring those people that are blessing your life? You're filling your life. You know, Mr. Atheist there. Or maybe somebody that doesn't know God. Or maybe, are you honoring them? Are you honoring the wealth and the wisdom and the knowledge that you're getting into your life? And I'm not, listen, I've struggled with this. Because I was always a person, freely was given to me, freely was given. But, you know, there were some people that came along in my life and wanted to bless me. And I always would say, nah, don't, just give it to somebody else, whatever. And I didn't realize that they were honoring me. They were trying to honor the gift that was in me, what I was given to them. They recognized that it took time, it took talents, it took gift, it took lack of sleep to bless them. And so they wanted to bless me. And, you know, and I had the epiphany today for a moment, that we're willing to pay psychiatrists, we're willing to pay this, we're paying that. We'll do all this, and we'll pay people to speak into our lives. People spend motivator speakers. They'll pay for someone to motivate them. And there's nothing wrong because that person's using the gift. But I had a beggar's mentality, that as a minister, I thought that I shouldn't receive nothing. You know, give it to God. Don't let it corrupt my heart and this and that. And I realized this. That there's some people out there that they have been blessed with finances to give to those that motivate. It is. People will pay you to motivate them. People will pay you for your time, your talents, and this and that. And I don't look at it as a paycheck or something, but what I look at it is, let me say it this way. What are you investing in? Some people are called to invest into other people's lives. One of the most poorest places that I've saw over the years is the denominational churches. I've saw, you know, and I was a pastor at one time, and I realized this, that we'll pay for, you know, renovations, or we'll pay for this, or we'll pay for that, but we will not invest into the speakers or the ministers or the pastors. We won't invest into them. The people that are caring for your souls, the people that are caring for you, and they're praying for you, and they're worrying about you, and they're stressing about you, and they're thinking about you week in and week out, and they're trying to prepare messages, they're trying to get you out of the ruts. We don't even want to invest into them. We want to give them trinkets and shallow words at times. And I'm not attacking the local church, and I'm not attacking the pastors, because my heart breaks for the ministers and the pastors more than anything, male or female. I think it's one of the most underprivileged, underdeserved jobs, or careers, or offices, or callings, or whatever. We're willing to pay all this money for tickets to go hear this huge worship team, or we're willing to go to this conference or this or that. And the people that are grinding this thing in and day out, we overlook so much. You know, we overlook so much. But know this, Know this, beloved. The first time we go through something, the first time you have a loss in your family, the first time someone dies, someone passes away, somebody goes through something, you know what? Who's the first person you call? Your minister, your pastor. When's the last time you were willing to say, hey, you know what? Not only my time or my talents, but I want to invest in you. I want to bless you with something financial. I want to pay or invest in your time because I knew it took you time and it took you moments, and that was something that really just hit me a little while ago. It hit me that there's some people, our words are worth something. You know, if you have somebody in your life that's motivating you, that's positive, that's always encouraging you, this and that, take the time to invest in that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not one of these televangelist preachers. I'm not trying to tell you to give you a prosperity gospel. I'm not trying to do any of that. I don't care if you're listening to someone's news source. If someone is feeding you and growing you and causing you to become whole, to become satisfied, to move towards your purpose and passion, if someone's causing you to grow closer to God, to grow closer in spirituality, to get you to the path where you know that you need to get closer to Christ, to get some salvation in your life, if someone's doing that, you're not paying for that. You're investing in that for someone to do it for another person down the road. So I want to encourage you in that. I want to encourage you. Think about that for a moment. We're willing to invest in the alcohol and the drug dealers. We invest our money in all kinds of stuff. We go to these dead-end jobs and invest our time for 8 to 10 hours a day for trinkets. We basically, so someone else can get rich off our back. We invest our time so someone else can do it. And we neglect some of the most profound things, the spiritual words that someone speaks in our life week in and week out to kind of help us gather the pieces and allow some wholeness to take place. You know, these people that we fall down to on the altars and we cry out and we're hurting and this and that, and we ask them to pray for us. When's the last time we told them, hey man, I love you, thank you? So, what are you replenishing yourself with? What books? What tapes? What are you honoring people with? What are you honoring the Lord with? When's the last time you honored Him because you have a job? You know, if it wasn't for Him, you wouldn't have the job. If He wouldn't have touched someone's heart to bless you. Maybe you're like, man, I don't know God. I don't need God. I've done it myself. Okay, beloved, I'll give you that. Maybe you don't have to. I'm not going to force you to receive Christ. I'm not going to force you to love God. But when's the last time you honored all those people to help you get to the place where you are, that you have a paycheck today? When's the last time maybe you gave to an orphanage, or you gave to the poor, or you gave to a charity? When's that? Honor somebody. You know, one of the great sayings is, given it shall be given unto you. How can you expect someone to give into your life, Mr. Selfish, if you're not willing to give unto others? And I'm going to leave you there on that. And the last thing I want to say to you is we're all called to subdue things. And subdue means to put under our feet. We are called to put things under our feet. We are called to put the enemies under our feet. You know, our greatest enemy is ourselves. The only person that will hinder me will be me. Why? Because when I think about this, the first thing when I wake up out of the morning, I get out of bed, and it's a new day, and I'm breathing and this and that, the very first thing is this will begin to attack me and say, man, you should stay in bed. You can't make it. You'll never do this. You'll never do that. Why? Because we want to hinder ourselves. Our negative conscience will always try to speak to us. The Bible says, you know, the Word says we were born and shaped in iniquity. We were shaped with that negative sinfulness, that conscience in us that will speak negative. That's why when your boss calls you, the first thing you think about is negativity. Or if your spouse calls you, what did I do wrong, or this or that. But we need to get some great self-talk in us. We need to get that positivity into us. We need to encourage ourselves at times. And we need to remind ourselves of the victories we've had. We need to realize that we're called to subdue things. That was a creation commandment that we've been given from the very beginning, to subdue. One of my other scriptures I like is Deuteronomy 28:13. It says that we are called to be the head, beloved, not the tail. We are called to be above, not below. I don't know about you today, but I want to encourage you today that you're called to be the head. You're called to be above and not below. And so I want to just encourage you today. I want you to think about what I said. I'm not attacking any local churches. I'm not attacking any local ministries. I'm not. I went back this Sunday for the first time to a local church, and I had a blessed time. I loved the worship, loved the pastor, loved the messages. Really it dealt with forgiveness, and it was some good stuff for me. I loved it. And he really the whole truth of what it was is that God spoke to me and said, I just, want you obedient. And obedience is always a blessing over sacrifice. So friend, I want to encourage you today that you're called to be fruitful. You're called to multiply. You're called to replenish. And you're called to subdue things. This is Minister Richard Murray. If I was a Trekkie, I would say Kirk out or Murray out, but I'm not. I just want you to know that you have the potential, you have the purpose, you have the power in you to be great, to change your generation. And so maybe you're like, I don't know where to start. Well, reach out to me. Let me help you. Let me encourage you. Let me motivate you. I want to encourage you. Honor somebody today. Honor God first and foremost, and honor somebody that's blessing your life. Honor somebody. Honor an orphanage. Honor the poor. Do something, beloved. Don't be there with your hand out always trying to receive, but be willing to give to somebody today. May the Lord bless you. May He keep you. I'll talk to you soon.